Welcome back to the MixedTV.tv High School Football Thursday nights driven by Mountain View Nissan. I'm your host, Ryan Lovelace, joined by Drew Linus, Brittany Jackson Tucker, and Derek Morris. Guys, we're entering, week 4 of football. Bradley Cleveland was last week. You guys are still standing beside each other.
We're still friends.
But, Walker Valley, Ooltewah. But we got a lot of region games last week, and now we have a little off week before we go back to region play. A lot of teams have byes, so you're going to hear about some schools you probably haven't heard of so far on our 3-week show. But, guys, how are we feeling about week 4?
This is where teams start to separate a little bit. Your identities is starting to be formed. The good ones are starting to separate, but then you also, as we'll talk about, you got injuries that start to play into it. So this is where coaches make their money for sure as we go forward.
Yeah, it's been awesome to see. We've already had the rivalry games. We've had some upsets. We've had some close games. We've got, teams that have played great one week and not so great another week. And so it's just like, how's we're in week 4, but how's the second half of the season going to unfold for everybody? And it'll be awesome because there's still going to be some great games, tomorrow night or even, tonight. And then there's going to be some games over the next few weeks that are exciting that, as we get into that fall weather and into the middle of September, early October, it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
I agree. What both of them said. You've got injuries that come into play and different things that have happened these last 3 games. So it's how your team handles adversity and what kind of team you really find out what kind of team you're having in this last part of the season.
So I mentioned a lot of teams on bye weeks. So we only have 8 total games. We have 5 that aren't in Bradley County, and for the first time, it feels like in a long 2 weeks, we have 3 separate Bradley County games going on this week. But first, we're going to start out with the games outside of Bradley County. We have McCallie versus West Broward from Pembroke Pines, Florida. I didn't do much research about where that is in Florida, but
Fort Lauderdale.
If anybody
used to live there.
Fort Lauderdale. See,
Broward County.
I don't need to do research with Brittany here. But anyways, McCallie, they had an 18-game win streak going into last week, and it was ended by Montgomery Bell Academy. That was a classic game. We talked about it here, how if we didn't have Cleveland Bradley or Walker Ooltewah, we'd want to go down there and watch that one.
Sure.
And it was a big one. Montgomery Bell jumped out to a 13-0 lead. McCallie battled back to take a 20-16 lead before Montgomery Bell scored a knockout punch with a go-ahead touchdown. McCallie's quarterback, Jeremy St. Hilaire, threw for 206 yards, ran for 89 more. Meanwhile, West Broward, they're the Bobcats, I mentioned, from Pembroke Pines, Florida. They won last week in overtime. Brittany, how far of a drive is it from here to Fort Lauderdale?
I don't like to drive it. I like to fly it. But it's a good 9-10 hour drive.
Well,
but it's a quick Allegiant flight. So.
Well, then they're heading up here either way. The game is in Chattanooga. It is tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Also tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. is East Hamilton at Sequoia. East Hamilton probably going to take this one with a sweep. Sequoia not got a win yet this season, so they're struggling a little bit. But, East Hamilton with their quarterback out, Lake Clark, it's really not made much of a difference.
Yeah.
You've got Bullard that's really stepped up. There was a running back, and he's putting points on the board. They won 38-0 last week. So, they've got some momentum, especially going into this game. And Sequoia, on the other hand, 0-3, lost to Hickson last week, 35-14. Just having trouble putting the points on the board and getting it going this year. But, there's always, you've got to have that breakout game. So, hopefully they'll work this week and come in to give East Hamilton a little bit. But, I think it's going to be am I giving my pick? I can't do that yet.
And you pick it.
Can't do that yet.
Nope.
No.
Too early tonight.
But.
One of the next games up, we got Ray County at Anderson County. Ray County coming off a tough loss last week to McMinn County, and when we were making our picks last week, everybody thought that Ray was going to jump back on track and get things rolling. Ray's sitting at 0-2 on the year, coached by Mark Pemberton, and I can tell you one thing: he's not happy. I've never been around him much when he's been happy, but sitting at 0-2, I know the Ray County faithful are not happy with that start. Anderson County, very very good team, coached by Davey Gillen. They're 3-0, and Anderson County, if you've never experienced a game at Anderson County, it's one of the coolest atmospheres that I've ever seen, and should be a fun game for those two teams. Anderson County 3-0, big win last week against Fulton, 35-7. They're led by their junior running back Nick Mogg, who ran for 162 yards and 3 touchdowns last week. So it should be a nice, smash mouth game between those two teams.
Well, game we have here is Silverdale Baptist Academy and the Lakeway Christian Lions. Lakeway Christian, not sure where they're from, but I do know this about them.
Morristown. I got you.
Morristown. Okay,
Forgot to
well,
put that one down.
here's what I do know about Lakeway Christian is they hired a guy from University of Virginia, and they're 3-0 this year after not winning a lot lately, but they've scored over 40 points a game in their 3 wins. So they're going to bring a high-powered offense into Silverdale. Silverdale scored a lot of points, won big the first week, got shut out the second week, played a really good team last week with Chattanooga Christian and lost, but did score 21 points. So it's just kind of, if Silverdale can figure it out or not, it'll be interesting because there's probably maybe a lot of points on the board in this game.
Yeah, moving on. This is a fun one. I feel like this game needs a name, like the Battle of 411 or something like that. Two schools separated by about 10-15 minutes. McMinn Central, they come into this game with their first winning record in 6 years. This is the first time in 6 years they've had more wins than losses. They're in Matt Moody's second season. They're 2-1, a big win over Signal Mountain last week. They forced 4 turnovers. Their quarterback, Novice Cox, threw for he had 152 yards of total offense, 57 of those being on the ground. Wyatt James was the hero for him. He kicked a go-ahead field goal with 79 seconds left to play to give McMinn Central a big region win. Meanwhile, Polk County, we talk about it. Since Derek Davis has returned as head coach, they're undefeated. They're 3-0 this year. They're coming off a big win over Tellico Plains in which they almost scored 50 points. A fun little note is, to just throw some spice in this rivalry, Derek Davis, after he left Ray County, where he spent 18 years, coached at McMinn Central for 2 years before making his return to Polk County. So, a little bit more than just your classic rivalry. But in this rivalry, Polk's won 3 straight, including a 21-3 victory last year. That one's going to be a good one, and it will take place tomorrow night at 7:30 at McMinn Central. I may even be there. Who knows? But that concludes probably our shortest first segment we've had all year. Only 5 games in the Chattanooga area that aren't taking place in Bradley County. But when we come back, we're going to have 3 that are. Walker Valley, Cleveland, and Bradley. None of them are playing each other this week. They're all playing a separate team, and we're going to talk about it right after a quick break. You're watching the MixedTV.tv High School Football Thursday nights. We will be right back.
Williams with Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. Stop by today and take advantage of Bradley County's largest pre-owned inventory, or visit cleveland-nissan.com, home of the lifetime warranty.
L&B Appliance is your one-stop appliance shop and HVAC dealer. Locally owned and operated, serving this area for over 30 years. They offer sales and service. L&B Appliance, located on Durkee Road at Highway 64 in Cleveland, 423-339-3231. L&B Appliance, large enough to meet all your home appliance needs, small enough to appreciate your business.
So Lynn, tell me about your experience at Chattanooga Auto Square.
We have been thrilled with the service, and we wouldn't dream of shopping anywhere else.
They take the time to show you everything and work with you. The salespeople there were excellent.
It's been good working with them and also with the people in service.
Actually lives here.
And that is correct.
Chattanooga Auto Square. Luxury lives here.
Hands. You might think they're just for waving, but they can be used for all kinds of things, like making made-from-scratch biscuits at Hardee's.
Bite into the new 2 for $5 breakfast deal only at Hardee's.
This is Thomas Williams with Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. Stop by today and take advantage of Bradley County's largest pre-owned inventory, or visit cleveland-nissan.com, home of the lifetime warranty.
Remember Me Senior Care is Cleveland's first assisted living and memory care neighborhood. They specialize in assisted living for those who are still active, with a community of indoor and outdoor activities. They also provide memory care living for those who are facing life with dementia. Learn more online at remembermesc.com or call their office and set up an in-person visit at 423-473-3140. Remember Me Senior Care, a culture of care your loved one deserves.
Wholesale Supply Group, you've heard the name for years. The experts trust them, and you should too. Whether you're building, remodeling, or just maintaining your home, Wholesale Supply Group has all the plumbing, electrical, and HVAC products you need to supply any project. With great brands like Delta, Kohler, Rinnai, Mansfield, Progress Lighting, Square D, GE, and Milwaukee, Wholesale Supply has everything you need. Check out the locations in Cleveland, Chattanooga, Athens, Dayton, Madisonville, Dalton, and Chatsworth. Online, wholesalesupply.us. And remember, Wholesale Supply is open to the public.
Welcome back to the MixedTV.tv High School Football Thursday nights, driven by Mountain View Nissan. I'm Ryan Lovelace, joined by Drew Linus, Derek Morris, and Brittany Jackson Tucker. And guys, I mentioned it, we have 3 games in Bradley County this week. 2 of them are tonight, that being Walker Valley and Bradley, and then one of them is tomorrow night, that being the Cleveland game. And since, who needs chronological order, we're going to start with the Cleveland game. So we're starting with tomorrow night's game. Cleveland versus East Ridge at 7:30. I think first, to set up the stage for Cleveland, we need to talk about sort of their last 2 weeks. I mean, you allow 3 points against McMinn, and then you allow 190 points versus 190 yards. Sorry, that would be a lot of points.
Wow, they scored a lot
there. 190 yards against Bradley. So, you have 2 great defensive performances, and then, you're still net negative in points after those 2 weeks. What's to make of Cleveland's offense right now?
I think they're still trying to find their identity. I know. We've talked about some teams are clicking, some teams are going backwards, some teams have dealt with some adversity. But I think Cleveland's still trying to find, what's going to be their bread and butter for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. And, they've played a tough Red Bank team to get the season started. Then they played a tough McMinn team, played a tough Bradley team. So maybe, this week playing, not take anything away from East Ridge, but a team that struggled. Yeah. Maybe Cleveland can get things rolling offensively this week and get some points on the board, rack up some yards and do some, once again, some solid things defensively, because I think that they can do that on Friday.
Yeah.
For Cleveland's offense, when you lose your offensive coordinator a week before season starts, for whatever the reason may be, it does throw things into disarray. Mm-hmm. So you're exactly right. There's no continuity. There's no this is what we do. And they're still trying to figure that out. And like you said, this is a good game to maybe try some things and start figuring some things out. Your defense has played great and has carried you. And unfortunately, like you said, you're 0-2 after 2 phenomenal defensive performances. So they just got to find a way to maybe get creative, get their athletes in space, and just kind of find an identity to roll with for the rest of the year. And while East Ridge, it's, can I call it the Battle of the Bargers, the Barger Bowl?
I support it.
So, it's 2 brothers going against each other. East Ridge has really struggled, but it's also, they may go into this game being overlooked. So it could be a trap game for sure in that sense.
So, Brittany, I mention it every broadcast, but you played sports at a pretty high level. So
what?
Yeah,
it's been so long, I forget. So I'm glad you reminded me.
I'm just trying to bring back old memories. But what was your outlook? After a few tough games, and then you look on your schedule and you have just some random school that your guys are going to drill. How do you mentally prepare for it? What are you looking at in that game, just from an athlete's perspective?
Yeah, I think both of these coaches here can vouch for you've got to focus. Those games are over. You've got to focus, and that's where you can get caught up. If you look at the opponent and then you play down to their level, anything can happen, and it does happen, especially at the high school level a lot. Just the maturity level. But when you look at Cleveland and East Ridge, I think I really emphasize what Drew said. Cleveland, I think, is still trying to find their identity. They had, they lost Destin Thomas, a huge part of their team, and these guys, DJ and Rodney, that are trying, they didn't have that attention they're getting now, because they had, everybody was focused on Destin Thomas. And so I think that they're trying to, sometimes when you're not used to being in that leadership role and then you're thrown right into it, it takes time, and kids adjust different ways. So I think they are trying to find their identity, and hopefully will. But, I think they can't overlook at this point. Any team, you can't overlook East Ridge, because they're going to fight. They have nothing to lose. And you think they're going to come in there and lay down? No. They know no one in that stadium is going to think that they're going to win. So those are games that you got to be careful, and you really got to stay focused.
Yeah, so it's sort of interesting to note. I mean, you talk about Destin Thomas. Drew Lambert, this is the first season he's quarterbacked where he didn't have Destin Thomas as sort of a security blanket. So I know none of us have played quarterback here, but we have a quarterback's coach, believe it or not. So what are you telling Lambert? I mean, he only threw for 80 yards against Bradley. What are you telling him in regards to, you have other weapons out here?
Well, for a quarterback, when he's not comfortable, you got to get him comfortable, and to do that, you got to find switch terms. So you got to find layups for him, which is those quick outs, those little shoot routes, little screen passes, something to get him comfortable in the pocket, which he hasn't been because the line hasn't blocked very well either, which is another thing to talk about. But you just got to get him where he's comfortable, and as a senior, he's trying to do everything, I think. His turnover last week was not, it's a terrible play, but it's because he was just trying to do too much. He made a phenomenal play to lose the sack, but then made a poor decision. So he's got to realize he doesn't have to do it all, and then he just got to hit some easy passes early and get comfortable.
Yeah. And so we saw Cleveland Eastridge last year. It wasn't a very close game. Drew, what does a game like this do? I mean, hey, if you're Cleveland's offense, you're kind of thinking, we want to be competitive. We don't want to overlook this team, but we can get sort of things back on the right track with a team like Eastridge.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Cleveland needs momentum right now. I mean, and we're through, this is our fourth game, so we're through that first third of the season. And so it's like, hey, where can we get, so with these next three games, hey, maybe this is what jumpstarts them. Maybe this is what gets them going. They want to put some points on the board. They've got some athletes. And so, those guys want to score. And the defense, like Derek says, has done a great job for the last 3 weeks. And, they're sitting at 1-2. They want to even things up, and this is a great opportunity for them for Lambert to get the ball in space and for them to have some fun. I mean, those offensive guys want to have fun. They want to score touchdowns. They want to catch the ball. And, Lambert wants to throw for a lot of yards and all that. And so this is a chance for them to have some fun with it and really enjoy the night and really hopefully get things back on track.
Yeah, so that's a big one. Cleveland versus Eastridge. You mentioned Eastridge, they're 0-3 on the year. They went 1-9 last year. So 1-12 over their last 13. They're looking for a big upset win, a statement win. You called it the Barger Bowl. Which one is it? David Barger coaching at Cleveland, is that correct?
He's the defensive coordinator.
Defensive coordinator at Cleveland. We talk about that defensive unit. And then at Eastridge, Chad Barger. There we go. We're on top of it. The Barger Bowl, self-named right here. We'll take any royalties used by that name.
Absolutely. NIL.
Yeah, NIL. Perfect. But that's a 7:30 game tomorrow night. Moving on to a game tonight at 7:30 at Walker Valley. Walker Valley coming off a win over Ooltewah, 35-13. I saw a crazy stat that I think Akins put on Instagram that this was Walker Valley's first win ever at Ooltewah, which kind of caught me off guard, but a big win for them nonetheless. Meanwhile, Carter comes into this game 0-3. They lost to Gibbs by 16 points last week. Walker Valley, we mentioned the big problem with Bradley. They turned the ball over a lot. Last week, they didn't turn the ball over once. Drew, sort of double back to you here. What's the vibe around Walker Valley's program right now coming into this?
It's after the heartbreaking loss at Bradley and coming back and responding, on the road again and being at Ooltewah, it was fun. I mean, those kids were excited. It was good to see them smile. I say that a lot when I'm at school because it's like when our students are smiling, teachers are smiling, kids are smiling, they're enjoying the moment there, and so that was fun. And so it's like just talking to those guys, and they're wanting to talk about the game, and heading into this week. So we're back at home since we got three straight games at home, and so our first home game, it's on a Thursday night now, and so it's a little bit different, but. We're feeling good going into Carter, and it's good to just see those guys just really pumped about, getting things back on track.
Yeah. So, Brittany, we mentioned this game was originally Friday night, tomorrow night, but it has since been moved to tonight. So it's a tonight game at 7:30. What does that do? If you're a coach and the game gets sort of moved like that, as athletes, we like routine. We like the routine of we have a certain number of practice days. How do you sort of switch it up sort of on I don't want to say last minute notice, but still short notice?
Well, I think your coaches are nervous to see how your athletes respond, and but like Drew said, I think Walker Valley coming off that heartbreaking loss from Bradley, they've got some momentum. They're getting some confidence back. They had fun, got a good win last week. They know that this is a no-brainer. They should get a win, but I like the fight in Walker Valley, and I think they've got some tough kids there. So, but a lot like the Cleveland game. I think you've got a team like Carter that is just looking for a win, and that's going to come in and give it all. So you can't look over them. But that the adjustment to the Thursday and playing tonight instead of tomorrow night. I think Walker Valley will be ready to play. I mean, I know as a player, hey, you're always ready to play, and that Thursday you're looking forward to Friday. So. I think Walker Valley will come in and give them all they've got, but Carter's not going to lay down because they're trying to get some momentum.
So, I mean, talking about Walker Valley, before the year, I didn't really know what to think of them. I feel like a lot of people thought, hey, is this going to be a Walker Valley team like last year or like 2 years ago? And so far, Walker Valley is looking really good. I mean, Derek, what's just your analysis on Walker Valley so far this year?
So Walker Valley has looked really good. In fact, I think Cleveland, sorry, but they look like the best team in the area. I know they lost to Bradley, but they look like the best team in the area right now. And it's interesting. I didn't grow up and play here. I was somewhere else, but I've lived here long enough to know it's always Cleveland, Bradley, and Walker Valley. And this year, we're talking about Walker Valley. So now for them, it's instead of always playing the underdog role, they got the target on their back. It appears like everyone's saying, "Oh, Walker Valley's good." So now now can they play when you're a front runner and not always the underdog? And as far as the travel goes, it is different, but I think it's way harder for the road team when they have to travel and it's a last-minute thing like that. So I think, in Walker Valley, it'll be curious to see how they play from the front as opposed to always being the underdog, and it looks like they have the team to do it this year.
Yeah, Walker Valley, Cleveland coming up in a few weeks. Just a little promo for that in the future. What sticks out to me? Tucker Owenby. He had a great game against Bradley. Kind of felt like a coming-out game after losing some receivers last year for Walker Valley. I mean, how big is that, Drew, just Tucker Owenby?
I think, from last year to this year, the coaches talked about Tuck all the time. Yeah. And usually, when coaches are talking about players, I'm glad it's positive things and not like and so Tucker's awesome. I mean, he's a great kid in our building, on our baseball team, and he had a huge game last week. So he's kind of filled the roles in different spots, whether it's playing receiver, and he caught all 3 touchdowns last week. Whether it's on defense, Coach Ashby loves him some Tucker Owenby, and so he flies around, and so he's one of those guys, kind of our glue guy that kind of holds a lot of things together. I mean, we've got other guys that do a lot of great things for us and are great leaders, but Tucker's really stepped up in that role, and it's been awesome to see because he just plays. And, I mean, he's got that mentality of he's going to go out and give it all he's got. Night in and night out. Yeah. So he's a fun guy.
So, quarterback Coach Morris over here. What stuck out to me for Carter is their quarterback threw the ball 53 times last week for 308 yards and 2 touchdowns, but also threw 3 picks. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're Walker Valley's defense, are you just coming out 5 DBs every play? I mean, if you're Coach Akins and you look at that, what are you thinking?
I mean, I've not seen film to give you an analysis of what defense to play, but I will tell you, it is scary when you have a high school team that throws the ball that much because it's not what you're used to guarding. I mean, Bradley threw out 3 times. When they play them, so it's a pass-happy offense can give you fits, but pass-happy offense in high school can lead to 5 turnovers, which Carter did last week too. So it's just as long as you play your job and do your job right, I mean, the turnovers are there for them.
Yeah. Brittany, any final thoughts about Walker Valley?
Yeah, what really sticks out to me, I mean, you got to give Walker Valley credit. I mean, I'm reading no turnovers after coming off that Bradley loss, and, that means they've got their heads together like, hey, we've got to take care of the ball. And they did. I mean, no turnovers last week, and just that speaks volumes of the coaches, the players, and the organization. So, like I said the same thing, and like I said, Bradley fans, I know I'm probably going to get some hate mail for this, but Walker Valley, I mean, it is looking like, the best team in the area right now. And Damon Floyd, I'm sorry.
But, I mean, that game's going on tonight. So if you're watching this and you weren't expecting a game to be on tonight, and if you want to go see some high school football, you can head on over to Walker Valley. That is a 7:30 p.m. kickoff. You can listen to it on 99.1 The Fiesta. Walker Valley versus Carter. Moving on, we have another game tonight thanks to being rescheduled, and this one's a big one. Back-to-back crosstown rivalry games for Bradley, which they both came out with wins. 2 gross games that's just the best way to describe it. They got a 3rd rivalry game, and it's the 2nd longest tenured rivalry in the state. Bradley Central versus McMinn tonight at 7 p.m., their 99th meeting all time. Bradley last week, we mentioned the win over Cleveland. Brittany, I'll give you a second to gloat on Derek here. Meanwhile,
There's
McMinn.
not much to gloat over, but
Hey, a win's
a
enough.
win is a win.
But McMinn County, we all picked against them. A lot of people picked against them. And I guarantee you when their quarterback went down in a tie game in the first quarter against Ray County, a lot of people were doubting McMinn. But that didn't stop Caden Hester, their backup quarterback, for running for 120 yards and throwing for another 55 and just dominating Ray County 42-14. McMinn County ran the ball for 339 yards and forced 4 turnovers. And, you know, if you're running the wing team, you turn the ball over and get behind, it's hard to come back from that. But McMinn County will run the ball. 339 yards of total offense. 339 yards on the ground last week. Meanwhile, Bradley, 190 yards of total offense. A lot of injuries for Bradley. Drew, I mean, what do you...
Yeah, I mean, you know, a few minutes ago we were talking about Cleveland wanting to get things rolling, and I think Bradley wants to get things rolling offensively. And they've struggled, you know, they've had some injuries. They've struggled, you know, passing the ball consistently. They have, you know, without, you know, when Wilson went down, you know, a couple weeks ago against us, you know, they struggled to find some things going. Now, I know he came back in the game, but like it's like, you know, what are they going to do? How are they going to produce points? How are they going to get first downs? You know, there's a lot of questions that go through this coach's head. But the big thing here is that Damon Floyd wins.
Yeah.
I mean, he finds a way,
Yep.
and you know, props to him he finds a way to win. And you know, I think this will be a great game. With 2 teams that are eager to get things rolling, and you know, McMinn County, they've been you know, kind of a Jekyll and Hyde. You know, they've had some. It's been interesting. You know, like none of us thought they had a chance against Ray County last week, and we were all wrong. But you know, I think this will be a fun one tonight. It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top. You know, and who is the better team going forward going into next week.
And then Brittany, we mentioned their injuries. Can you just give us a little more about who Bradley's not going to have tonight?
Some of their top performing players.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at Jackson Wilson, Alan Terry on the offensive side not playing, and then their captain, Gage Anderson, is out. So, you know, Bradley, and not only that, I mean, this is their 3rd rivalry. I'm telling you, guys, I say this all the time. I think McMinn would rather beat Bradley than Cleveland would rather beat Bradley. I mean, I know
like
the
in the last couple of
Bradley-Cleveland rivalry, but that McMinn, I mean, I played them in basketball, and I mean, they just don't like Bradley Central. So they always come out fired up, ready to play. So, you know, this is going to be an interesting one. I think it is tough with our injuries that we have out, and it being, I mean, you know, they've had tough games. They're not coming off a blowout, you know, like they've had Walker Valley, barely won. They've had Cleveland, barely won. So they're tired and they're hurt. So, you know, it's going to be interesting how Bradley responds. And, you know, we know what McMinn's going to do. They're coming in, you know, they're going to beat Bradley, and you spoke, you know, and told what they did last week. So this is going to be an interesting one. Tough one to pick.
Yeah, oh, for sure. So Bradley, they've sort of been kind of the cardiac kids this season. I mean, so Derek, if you look at it, I mean, I feel like Walker Valley outplayed Bradley, but Bradley still escaped with a win. And then I feel like Cleveland was, I mean, I feel like they shot themselves in the foot. But then again, Bradley came out with a win. So, you know, 2 games where I feel like it could have very easily gone a different direction. Does this sort of style catch up with Bradley eventually in this season?
If you're playing games like that year-round, then it's going to catch up to you for sure. But if you're Bradley, sometimes games like this, it really helps set the tone, and it throws the teams you're playing for a loop because your both running backs are out. Your defensive captain's out. So now you look at other guys, and maybe now we look at doing something different. So McMinn's game planning off film, but now Bradley may go to a different scheme of, hey, we got to get the ball in space and throw the ball a little more. So it's interesting from a coaching matchup, all the chess pieces, how they move, and what happens in that, if it works or not. Because obviously they're not going to have their running backs just to hand off 20 times.
So just like any football game, but especially this one, the quarterback position, it looks like is going to win this game. I mean, Alex Walker, he's had some struggles the past couple of weeks, which is to be expected. It's his first year starting. But he doesn't have his 2 security blankets in his 2 stud running backs. And meanwhile, we don't know if McMinn's even going to have their starting quarterback. So, Drew, what do you make of just the quarterback situation in this game?
Yeah, it could be the Alex Walker coming out party. I mean, this could be his night that he clicks and like Derek said, they get some things rolling offensively, passing the ball, and he just falls in love with it all, you know, tonight. But you know, with McMinn, the unknown at quarterback, you know, not knowing who they're going to roll out there, it might be a chance for somebody to step up and excel in that role. Whether it's a third quarterback, or whether they're moving a receiver to quarterback, whether they're putting a running back there, or they're putting a lineman back there. I don't know,
Right.
But it's like it's a chance for them to kind of it's their chance to be like, hey, it's my time. And we're stepping up, next man up. We say that all the time as coaches. When you get your opportunity, you got to rise to the occasion, and hopefully, both teams had a great week of practice, and whoever's going to play quarterback for McMinn. Best of luck to him, and best of luck to Alex Walker, and I hope he gets things rolling.
Hey, and it could be another trip to Bradley County and another 6-3 game. Who knows?
I've about had enough 6-3 games for one season. But quickly, before we go to break, Bradley Central, Damon Floyd, his 17th season at Bradley. Bo Cagle at McMinn, his 16th season there. So these two have faced off a lot. If I was smarter earlier today, I would have found, a little all-time record versus each other. But, two experienced coaches. But, Brittany, he hit on it, Drew hit on it. There's so many question marks about who's playing running back, who's playing quarterback, Thursday night game. How do you sort of keep everybody calm and just game plan for all those question marks?
I think the biggest thing, like you said, you've got injuries on both sides. Like Drew said, just being an athlete, you don't know when you're going to get your time, but when you do, you've got to step up. Just like last week, the quarterback from McMinn goes down, and then Caden Hester steps in, and he leads them to a win. He don't know if he's going to get a chance the whole season, but guess what? Bam, goes down, and he comes in and gets the job done. So that's really what I'm anxious to see is the kids who steps up that when these players are out and shines. We might have somebody that we don't. I don't know the whole rosters on these teams. But that's what's going to be the most exciting thing is that you got injuries on both sides. Who steps up whenever now they're given their opportunity and performs.
Both teams ranked 9th in their respective 6A and 5A polls. Derek, any last words on this game before we go to break?
No, it's going to be a tough one to pick. I know that. So I'm still waiting to decide.
Well, we got a little break coming up, but when we come back, we are going to make our picks on all 8 of these games. And boy, we're going to share our records from last week, which I am more than happy to do. But right now, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching the MixedTV.tv High School Football Thursday nights, driven by Mountain View Nissan. We will be right back.
We're here at Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland.
We are here with great service.
We're here.
We're here.
We're here.
We're here with great deals.
We're here for you. So come get huge Nissan savings when you shop Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland and Cleveland-Nissan today. Home of the exclusive lifetime warranty.
From Lookout Mountain to Cleveland, from Red Bank to Collegedale, luxury lives here.
Chattanooga Auto Square is your home for premium luxury automobiles.
And we have the largest selection in all of Chattanooga of pre-owned vehicles from every major brand.
Chattanooga Auto Square, Jaguar, Land Rover, Porsche, Infiniti.
Luxury lives here.
The ability to try a criminal case in front of a jury is one of the most important skills a lawyer can have. Make sure you hire a lawyer that can do it. The law offices of Stephen Hatchett are here for your criminal needs in Athens, Cleveland, and surrounding areas. Contact their offices at 423-290-7698 or message them at facebook.com/Hatchett Law.
L&B Appliance is your one-stop appliance shop and HVAC dealer. Locally owned and operated, serving this area for over 30 years. They offer sales and service. L&B Appliance, located on Durkee Road at Highway 64 in Cleveland. 423-339-3231. L&B Appliance, large enough to meet all your home appliance needs, small enough to appreciate your business.
Anna, can you count to 5 without saying 1 or 3?
Sure, 2, 4, 5.
That's right. Our big story is the 2 for $5 breakfast deal at Hardee's.
You got me.
I know, I did.
Bite into our made-from-scratch biscuits today.
This is Thomas Williams with Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. Stop by today and take advantage of Bradley County's largest pre-owned inventory, or visit cleveland-nissan.com, home of the lifetime warranty.
Welcome back to the MixedTV.tv High School Football Thursday nights driven by Mountain View Nissan. Ryan Lovelace still here with Drew Linus, Derek Morris, and Brittany Jackson Tucker. So guys, let's pick some games. But first, last week, well, I led the way with records because isn't that obvious? No, I'm just kidding. I got lucky with my. I was not 10-0 like I stated, but this is the week I go 8-0. One of these weeks I got to go undefeated, and I'm going to call my shot. But I went 8-2 last week. Drew, you went 7-3. Brittany, you went 6-4, and Derek, you went 5-5.
Yes.
So overall in the year, I'm at 23-7. Drew, you're at 21-9. Derek's at 20-10, and Brittany, you're at 17-13. And guys, we got some interesting ones to pick. Starting off tomorrow at 7 p.m., McCallie is hosting West Broward. From Broward.
There you go.
Fort Lauderdale, she's got me. From Florida. That is a 7 p.m. game. McCallie coming off their first loss in 18 games. Drew?
I think McCallie starts a new streak tomorrow night, and McCallie gets the big win.
McCallie.
Yeah, I think McCallie bounces back and handles business.
That's a long drive to lose to McCallie. McCallie.
Or flag.
Moving on, East Hamilton versus Sequoia. That is 7:30 tomorrow night. East Hamilton's ranked 14th in 4A. They're coming off a big win over East Ridge, 38-0. Meanwhile, Sequoia has not won since September 21st of 2018, but they have been competitive this year under Derek Vessel. Drew, you feeling upset?
No upset this week. Coach Vessel's going to get that win at some point this year, but Hurricanes win this one big.
I know. I'm going to pick Sequoia at some point. They're going to get a win this year, but it's not going to be this week, East Hamilton.
I don't know if I'm going to pick Sequoia this week or not, but I know East Hamilton wins this one.
Yeah, East Hamilton for sure. Moving on, Ray County at Anderson County. Ray County 0-2. I don't know the last time they lost back-to-back games, but Evansville is probably not the happiest right now. They're traveling to Anderson County. Anderson County's 3-0. They lost to Ray County last year, 35-33, but Ray County went into that game with a lot more success than they are taking into it this year. Drew, what do you make of it?
No, you're good. I think playing at home helps Anderson County, and I think Ray County falls to 0-3 in the year. Anderson County wins this one.
Man, I think that Ray County is pretty mad from the loss last week. I think Coach Pemberton's mad. And I think they're going to beat Anderson County at Anderson County.
Wow. Ooh, okay. Every year you have surprises, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Ray County has been one of those surprises that we didn't expect them to be this. You can't, after 2 games, they're bad right now. So I'm picking Anderson County to win. They score a lot of points.
Yeah. You mentioned that you never know what happens, and it's tough for Ray County. They turned the ball over 4 times last week. If they don't turn the ball over 4 times, it's a completely different game. And Ray County is capable of not turning the ball over. With that being said, they're going up to Anderson County. Anderson County has dominated this year. They're outscoring opponents 131-27 on the year. So I'm going to have to take Anderson County. But I can see Ray County pulling out a win.
Thanks for making
picking Anderson County?
I'm taking Anderson County. Just throwing that out there.
Waffling back and forth.
Covering myself in case Ray wins. Moving on, Silverdale versus Lakeway Christian Academy from Morristown. This is an interesting game. That is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Silverdale, they're coming off of back-to-back losses. The defense has not been there for Silverdale so far. Meanwhile, Lakeway Christian, they're 3-0 on the season. They're ranked 7th in D2 Class Single A. I think this game could be a close game. Drew?
Yeah, I think it could be a fun one. For both teams, Silverdale wants to get things back on track. Lakeway wants to continue, get things rolling. But I'm going to take Silverdale. I guess you could say it's an upset. In this one, Silverdale looks to get things back on track.
I'm going to go Lakeway. I don't know much about them. I guess I just want to be different this week. I don't know. I think Silverdale, it's going to be a good game. But Lakeway Christian Lions are going to pull it out.
Well, Silverdale has Brett Rogers as quarterback, who has proven he's not Brett Favre nor Aaron Rodgers. So I think Lakeway, who's put up 40-plus points a game, is going to come in and outscore him.
That was smooth.
I'll give you that.
The 3 teams Lakeway has played this year have 1 combined win on the season. They are 1-8. Lakeway, much smaller than Silverdale. They're a class below them. It's at Silverdale. I don't think Silverdale loses 3 in a row. Give me the Seahawks.
There we go.
All right, Brittany.
Moving on.
Okay.
The Super Bowl on 4/11. Our boy Matt Moody, friend of the show, Matt Moody and McMinn Central, they're looking for their 3rd straight win. Meanwhile, Polk County is looking for their 4th and to continue the second coming of Derek Davis and remain undefeated. It's going to be a good one. It's at McMinn Central tomorrow night at 7:30. Drew?
Yeah, I think McMinn Central wants to win this big because you know Coach Davis used to be there, and so. But on the flip side of that, I think Derek Davis wants to win big there, and it wouldn't surprise me if he had the opportunity to score a lot of points, he would do it. But I think it's going to be a back and forth game. But I think Polk County gets the win to go to 4-0.
I did. I know my friend Matt Moody. I hate to pick against him, but I'm going with Polk County.
I mean, this game's what high school football is about. 2 small towns, rivals. I mean, they're going to shut down the Piggly Wiggly to go to this game.
Love the pig.
But I think Derek Davis and Polk County pull it out.
Not so fast. If you didn't know me, you'd think I went to McMinn Central. Go Chargers. That's all I'm going to say. They forced 4 turnovers last week. They may force 4 more this week. Go Central. Moving on, Cleveland versus East Ridge. Cleveland looking to bounce back from Bradley. We've said that for 8 straight years, but the Raiders, they'll face East Ridge. East Ridge is, we mentioned, 1-12 in their last 13 games. That is tomorrow night at 7:30 at Cleveland High School. You can listen to it right here on Mix 104.1. Derek, I'm sorry. I'm struggling.
You want me to go
today.
first?
Hey, you can start.
Let's go with Cleveland first. I think Cleveland, still trying to find their identity, will find some of that this week, and I think they beat East Ridge by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, I think it's not a game. Cleveland comes in, plays well, and beats them pretty bad. Raiders.
I haven't picked Cleveland all year, but that's going to change. Cleveland big over East Ridge.
Yeah, and I'll also pick Cleveland. I think they win big, and here's a little thing. I think Coach Barger, the DC at Cleveland, I think he tries to pitch the shutout against his brother. So that would be nice to see. But Cleveland will win this one big.
Yep. Some bragging rights at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Guarantee Coach Barger's team wins that.
There you go.
Well played.
Tonight, Walker Valley hosting Knox Carter at 7:30. You can listen to it on 99.1 La Fiesta. Walker Valley, they were ranked 11th in the Class 5A AP poll after a win at Ottawa for their first time ever winning off exit 11. Meanwhile, Carter, they're 0-3. They lost to Walker Valley by 28 points last year. Drew, what you got?
Yeah, hey, we're back at home. It's a fun feeling. It'll be a great atmosphere tonight. Looking forward to kind of getting things continue rolling in the right direction. After tonight, our next 2 games are at home, so that's a lot of fun. But I think we get the big win, just like last year. I think our defense does a great job of holding their quarterback in check, and I'm excited to see our guys celebrate after the game.
I think they'll be celebrating Walker Valley.
Yeah, Walker Valley, I think on this, it's like I said, they're the team that's playing in the front now, so fun to watch in the next couple of weeks and see how they play.
Yeah, hit on it earlier. Walker Valley beat them by 28 last year, and I think this is a better Walker Valley team than last year. I think Walker Valley wins big for the home crowd tonight. Moving on, another game tonight starting 30 minutes before that one. It's the 99th meeting between Bradley Central and McMinn County. You can listen to it on Talk 101.3 The Buzz. Gary, I'm going to be bringing it as always. Meanwhile, McMinn County, they're coming in off a big upset win at home versus Ray County. We mentioned this is going to be a tough one to pick. Bradley without Jackson Wilson, without Jay Allen Terry, their backup running back, and without defensive captain Gage Anderson. It's going to be a fun one tonight at 7 p.m. at Bear Stadium. Drew, what are you looking at right now?
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think it's going to be fun. If this was Bradley versus McMinn in wrestling, I'd pick Bradley. If this was Bradley versus McMinn in girls basketball, I'm going to pick Bradley. If this was Bradley versus McMinn in baseball, once again, I'm going to pick Bradley.
What about guys basketball?
Guys basketball, I'm still going to pick Bradley. Okay? But it's not any of those sports. And, I said earlier that Damon Floyd finds a way to win, but I think with the injuries kind of piling up and not getting things going, I think McMinn gets the win tonight.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I think it's going to be a really good game. I've thought about it, asked Dad about it, but I am going to stick with my Bears because I bleed black and gold. Let's go Bears.
Well, McMinn's black and gold too.
No, I don't believe that. That's a different That's a different black and gold. Okay, this is the real black and gold. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going Bradley. I think we find a way to win, and some people step up, and we're gonna win. We're gonna get a win. I'm confident.
Well, as Cleveland, I love to see Bradley lose, even though there's some kids and teachers there that I love. And McMinn's tough, but here's what I think. I think Bradley's defense is going to answer the call. I think their defense is really going to step up and help that running game out. The quarterback has a good game, and Damon Floyd, he finds a way to win. He finds a way to win tonight.
So last season, McMinn County started out slow, and then they got rolling. And I think last week may have been the start of their roll. Their offense scored 42 points. Defense forced 4 turnovers. You know, if Bradley had Jackson Wilson and Jay Allen Terry, I think this is a completely different story. But I think McMinn County comes into Bear Stadium. They're hungry. They're pretty fresh. I mean, they haven't really had a competitive game since Cleveland. But I think they come back to Bradley County again and get the win. Give me McMinn County. Hopefully next week, maybe somebody will go undefeated this year. Everybody place your bets on who goes perfect first this year. We probably won't go perfect, knowing us, before the season's over. But we mentioned it. A lot of good high school football this weekend. Tonight, Bradley versus McMinn County, 7 p.m., Bear Stadium. You can listen to it on Talk 101.3 The Buzz. Walker Valley hosting Carter at 7:30 tonight. You can listen to that on 99.1 The Fiesta. And then Cleveland tomorrow night at 7:30 hosting East Ridge. You can listen to it right here on Mix 104.1. An exciting week of high school football, and we're going to wrap it up here. This has been the MixTV.TV High School Football Thursday nights, driven by Mountain View Nissan. From all of us here at Mix 104.1, Drew Linus, Brittany Jackson-Tucker, Derek Morris, Gideon Ratcliffe behind the camera. Thank you for watching. I'm Ryan Lovelace. We will see you next week.